What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Rule. This guy over here is Joique Bell, former Detroit Lions great. D-Mac, Darren McCarty, four-time Stanley Cup champion. Fish is in the bowl. Alex is in the production booth as well. Happy to have all of you guys with us on the YouTube live channel, on the app, however you're doing it. Well, we're glad that you are. We got some big things going on here at the Woodward Sports Network. We'll have some more big stuff coming out in the coming days, so be prepared for that. But fellas, ready to get after it here today. You guys get that? We're rolling in towards a weekend here on a Thursday. It's got a Thursday feel today, doesn't it, man?
Listen, I'm all stone cold, ready to go. D-Mac wrestling tonight, so I got up before the alarm today. Not quite as early as Mr. Bell over there, but I felt a little bit Joique Bell. I'm prepared, meditated, ready to go with you guys.
All right, you meditated this morning?
Dude, I meditate.
You meditated?
I
okay.
do. I mix my prayers and my meditation.
Okay.
Man, everybody's feeling it. It was a long cardio day. I got the 3-miler in this morning too, Joique. So let's go. Let's go.
I'm telling you, you know what, man? It's us coming in here. It's great minds thinking alike. Giving up that type of energy.
Yeah.
And look, it's just going around.
Got the
Definitely
juice
going
big
around.
D energy.
Big D.
All day this morning when you say, Mr. Bell.
You know what, man? That gorilla. Yeah. You gonna have that gorilla tonight, on you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
D-Mac got a big wrestling event. We'll talk about that later on. That's going down tonight. He's got the shirt on. Grind Time Wrestling.
He got the shirt.
We'll be in the building. Joique, you're going to be running around today as well, as will I. So we got a lot of stuff popping. There's no question about it. Got a great show lined up as well. Lions in action tomorrow for the final preseason game. And we talked about J.R. Smith and the college golf situation. So that got our minds jogging here, and we thought about it. Is D-Mac still eligible to play college golf? So what I'm going to do is later on in the show, I'm going to bring in the compliance officer at Oakland University, the director of compliance, Mari, my good friend too, Mari Tilly-Shalsky, and she got married, so her last name changed. So that's not.
That throws you off.
It does throw you off for a little bit.
Especially when she hyphenates it, and it's not really like off the tongue.
Yeah, but she didn't hyphenate it, just one. But I do have to get used to saying that one, and but we'll bring Mari in and we'll talk about it, the legalities of it. Is D-Mac still available? I'll get Nick Pumford, the Oakland golf coach, on the line possibly. Maybe we'll make something happen. I don't know. We'll see. We got Ballin with Bell coming up with Joique Bell at noon, and this one was by my request because this was a play that I saw happen in the Lions-Steelers game. And look, make no mistake, you guys have heard me talk about Jelani Tavai, and I'm not a football guy. I'm not a football coach. I'm not a football GM, but I've seen enough. And with all that being said, Joique's going to break down a play that I think was very, very telling about Jelani Tavai, and telling, too, about Najee Harris. The Steelers might have done it again with Najee Harris.
I'm going to break down that play because even though I'm not big on Tavai, that play right there.
I'm overreacting, you're saying.
You're overreacting for that particular play.
But Joique, it fits my narrative, man.
Yeah, but I'm going to break it down and let you know why we're overreacting just a tad bit, because one thing we talked about, how he lost weight and he's too slow. But even on that play right there, he never gave up on the play.
No, I like that part.
Yeah, he never gave up on the play. He did make the tackle. And the reason he was in that predicament in the first place might not even have been his fault.
Okay, and we'll discuss.
I think this brings up a beautiful thing that we'll be able to do with Ballin with Bell. It's not only Joique finding things that he sees as the athlete, but correcting us as the fans, and maybe we didn't see it the way he did. So this is a prime example, because if we understand the why, or we understand it from the guy that played, and I'll try to do it with the hockey wise too, it's just to give you a little bit of the insight and can explain, okay, we see the bigger picture of it, and maybe that helps us all as fans.
Yeah, and it's something too where, with me being a broadcaster and calling these games, people have to remember, I'm always following the ball, or I'm always following the puck, or I'm following where the action's going, and plays are determined long before the ball gets there. 99% of the time, or the puck gets there, plays are determined before that. So Joique will kind of talk me off the ledge as far as that goes, and it just kind of opened my eyes to it. But I still have seen enough, though. But we'll discuss that. Joique's great at it. I mean, don't believe me, believe the clicks and the views when we post those Ballin with Bell segments. Man, you guys watch, because that is insight that you do not get anywhere else because, this guy did some things, played in the NFL for a very long time. So, we're certainly lucky to have Joique here, and we will break it all down. But the pressing matter to me, and when I saw this developing yesterday, I really got fired up because it's a mix of things, right? It's never just one thing. There's a mix of things. Matt Stafford was in the news, and ESPN, I believe it was ESPN that wrote the piece that talked about, he's in his happy place and he wants to just play in big games. I know Alex has the quote, that we'll be able to pull up in just a couple of minutes because whenever I do these things, I want to make sure that I get them right. But Matt Stafford, as we all know, has moved on to the Rams, and there's a multiple layer approach that I'm taking to this, where he just said, I just want to play in big games. I want to have opportunities to make big-time plays in the fourth quarter. And you're seeing it right now if you're watching the stream on the YouTube channel. And we'll take your comments on YouTube as the show rolls on. But there were many, many things that ran through my emotions when I read that quote. And the first and foremost is this, because on social media, when these things get posted, there's tons of comments, there's tons of thoughts that go into it. And the biggest thing that jumped out to me was Lions fans, Joique, that were talking about, well, I want to see Matt Stafford go and do well. I want to go and see Matt Stafford win a playoff game finally.
I was one of those guys.
Which I get. You have a personal connection to him. I get it. I understand that. But for me, Joique, the Lions fan, no. I want the Rams to go 0-6. He's not here anymore. He's gone.
I want you to hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
I want him to play well, but I don't want them to win. There's a difference.
You want it both ways.
Yeah,
exactly.
I want it both. Both can be true.
5,000 yards, 4 and 13 with 5,000 yards and MVP.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, look at Jameis Winston did it. Put up 5,000 yards and it was a turnover machine, and they didn't go anywhere. But he did well.
Joique, I get what you're saying.
I want Matthew Stafford to have a great season, but I don't want them to win, though.
Because this is the bottom line for me, is he's gone, folks. He's not here. He's not coming back. And our success as a franchise, you could say, is going to be linked to some degree to how he does in L.A. If it doesn't go well, the 2 future first-round draft picks the Lions own will become higher. They'll become more valuable. And right now, he's gone. And he did great things in the community, D-Mac, and I support that, and that's great. But he's gone, and he's not coming back enough. The worse the Rams do, the better it is for the Lions. That's where I'm at.
Perfect scenario. Love Matt Stafford. Everything the kid's about, how he represented Detroit. Couldn't be more proud of the guy, but he's not here anymore. Perfect scenario, right? He gets COVID, or he goes out, he misses the season, or not a season-ending injury, but he doesn't play the whole season, gets injured, helps us with the draft pick next year, then comes back 2 years from now, and then can do whatever he wants. Right? I mean, the best of both worlds.
But for the next 2 seasons,
but what I'm saying is that if he doesn't have a successful year this year, then everybody will cheer more. I get what you're saying. As a Lions fan, being where we want him to suffer as a Rams team, not as the individual, if we're fans of the person. But to your point, Neal, he's not on our team anymore. So if I had to choose the Rams losing and Matt Stafford having a bad year, well, sorry, Matt. Love you, kid, but you know what? Need the pick for my Lions.
And that's it. And that's exactly where I am.
That's not the next 2. That's only this season. Right?
No, they have 2 future first-round picks from the Rams. So the worse they do, and look, I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at with it. I'm a Lions fan.
So you want him to suck in the next 2 years.
Team to suck.
Yeah, I want the team to suck, but unfortunately, this is one of those instances I think where both things can't be true, Joique, because you know how valuable the quarterback spot is in the National Football League. ... I mean, that's just the way it is. He's not here anymore. He's not coming back, and it doesn't help the Lions. It doesn't help the team that I root for to do well.
Hey, he throws 3,800, 4,000 yards. I'm happy. That's a down year for Matthew Stafford. I'll be happy with that for him. 3,800 yards, 4,000 passing. 20 touches, 10 interceptions. I'm happy with that for him. For Matthew Stafford. But that's a personal connection.
Yeah,
that's a personal connection.
And I understand that, and I respect that.
Now, he did say something I did not agree with. He did say that he just wants to play and play in bigger games and have a shot to make a big play at the end. And he has some big games here. I'm not going to say he has some big games here, and those games we might not have won it. We might not have won it, but he played in those big games here. So we have had big games here. So,
well, how does that make you feel, though, Joique? When you and that, look, again, I'll qualify it. I understand you guys have a relationship. I understand that. I respect that. But how does that make you feel as a player that played in those games? I mean, I remember sitting in Ford Field with the division on the line, playing against the Packers. I remember those games. Those were big games.
Yeah.
There were many big playoff games, all of it. There were many big games.
Yeah, I remember. That game was actually in Green Bay, and I'll put that game on me. I'll take that game on me. Defense played well. We had a routine handoff where we tried to go back and watch it on film. We didn't know what happened. He handed the ball off to me. I never secured it. I don't know if it hit my chest. I don't know where it hit. All I know, after the play was on the ground, and Packers recovered it and going the other way. I just never got it. But he put it in there. It was never secured. And then we went back and watched it. We didn't have a good angle on going back and see what happened. And so we had major games. And like I said, I'll put that game on me. I won't put that game on Stafford. But it was plays throughout that game that we should have put that game away. And those are the type of games you want to be in, and those are the type of games he was in. And so we did have some big games there. So I'm not going to say we didn't.
Right, and I'm not going to be the one that sits here and nitpicks and all that stuff. But the bottom line is, you went to the playoffs 3 times and was 0-3. I mean, that's not my opinion. That's not me being a hater. That's researchable fact.
And then people going out and saying that he didn't have a team around him. He didn't have.
Not true either.
That's not true at all. Because
one dude just got a gold jacket.
Because listen, when we went to the playoffs in 2014, it wasn't because of the offense. It wasn't because of us.
It was a historic. We talked about this before. That was a historically good defense.
Yeah, defense. Our defense, I think they broke they were number 1 in the league, back and forth with the Legion of Boom for the number 1 rushing defense, holding defenders and holding rushers for under 70 yards a game, or was it 60 yards a game? And they played lights out defense the entire season. All right. They bailed us out time after time after time again, putting us in good field position, keeping us on the field, getting off the field quick. I mean, that was the best defense I've ever played with.
Under 70 yards a game rushing,
yes.
They allowed. Think about
a game. A game.
Not like once.
Not one. A game. And so, I mean, on average. So it's hard to sit here and say, because offensively we're bottom tier. I mean, mid-tier. I'm going to say bottom, but we're mid-tier offense.
Yeah.
But just know we didn't go to the playoff because of our offense. Now, we did well enough for us to win games, but a mixture of probably play calling and using what we had as our ability to make plays could have played a big part in that as well. And so those changes were made, and then when we got a new offensive coordinator in there, they played a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sean will always say, if you take that 2016 offense and put it with 2014, as far as just play calling, there's no telling how far we would have
went. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're talking football, and it is football season. We are going to take a break, come back, and talk more about this whole Matt Stafford thing. But, D-Mac, it's football season. If you're sitting around, you got the game on TV, what should you do?
Well, if you don't buy into Neal's, and Neal's always says both things can be true, but I don't think it can be true that Matt Stafford plays well and the Rams do not succeed. So, at plus 1,300 right now, if you believe in the Los Angeles Rams win the Super Bowl, go to mybookie.ag. Yes, your first-time deposit. They will match up to $1,000 using promo code Woodward. The winning season returns at mybookie.ag. College football odds boost, NFL locks of the season, over 500,000 contest prizes live on site, making the winning season your best ever by MyBookie. All you have to do is go to MyBookie, put in Woodward, up to $1,000. We will match it. That's extra money credited to your account instantly using promo code Woodward, making your first deposit. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, with mybookie.ag. He's Joique, Bell, Neal, Rule, Darren McCarty. We are Big D Energy at Woodward Sports Network. We'll be right back.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Get blasted.
What up,
for
though?
my
Welcome back to
Canadian.
Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule, Joique Bell, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Fish is in the bowl as well. Alex in the building on the ones and twos, but we're breaking down this whole Matt Stafford discussion, and I've had enough. I've had enough of the fluff pieces. I've had enough of people saying, man, I really hope he wins a playoff game and gets things done. No, because that hurts the Lions. He's not here anymore. He's not coming back. So let's move on.
Neal
He
Rule,
is coming
enough
back.
of the fluff.
The thing is this, though.
Yeah, right.
Are you a fan of Matthew Stafford?
Am I a fan? I respect. It's.
I'm a fan of
It's
the person.
I'm a fan of Matt Stafford, the person.
Okay.
I'm happy for his
Okay.
family. Certainly, the stuff that his families went through, I'm certainly happy for that. He did great things in this community.
Did or is still doing?
Is still doing great
Okay,
thing in this
okay.
community.
All right. That's what I care about.
And I've qualified that before, Joique.
That's what I care about. I care about Matthew Stafford, the man, and what he's doing for the community that I live in, and that he's putting his mouth where he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's still coming back. Even though he's still in L.A., he still comes back here for certain events. And so I respect that about him, because usually when a person leaves a city, they don't come back.
Right.
They don't put the money back in the city.
Which he is. And the football field he built and all that stuff.
All that. And that's why I want him to do well as an individual.
Me too.
But as a person, there's stand-up guy.
Sure.
The organization that he's playing for now, I have no ties with. So I want the organization to do horrible.
Right.
And it's just sad that he has to be a part of that organization. And so that's where I'm coming from on my stance with it. But as a fan of the game, I want them to lose.
And that's where it is. Again, you always hear me say this. Both things can be true. Stafford, the community supporter of the community of Detroit. Yes. The family man. Yes. Glad everything's going well with this family.
Blue collar. Yes.
Period. Stop. It benefits the Lions if they lose.
Yes.
And they're linked together because he is a quarterback, and as you know, the quarterback in the National Football League. And it's the fans that are here saying, I want to see him win the playoff game. I do not.
I do
0-16.
I don't want them to go.
I'm sorry. Both things can be true. 0-16, Joique. 0-16.
Hey, why do we have?
They can't go 0-16, Neal. They have to go 0-17.
Okay. It's going to take me a minute. It's like when the Chargers moved from San Diego. Like it's going to take me a minute to grasp onto the whole 17 game. But hey, I'll do it this way. If they're 0-16, the chances will be good that they mathematically will have that first pick locked up, which then becomes property of the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions have a big draft coming up next year. JGB says in our YouTube thread, Stafford can have a Deshaun Watson MVP season as long as the Rams go 4-13 for all I care. And I don't think 4-13's. I want it worse than that, man. I do. And unfortunately, they are linked. Stafford, his production, his season, what happens with the Rams, their record, it's all linked together. I love this comes from Chad the Drywaller. I love Stafford. Hope he tears it up and ends the year with a 3-14 record. But that's where it is. And Chad, but not that Chad says, why are you still talking about Stafford? Because Chad, it angers me when I see these posts and I see these feel-good stories about Stafford in L.A., which I think there was news yesterday on PTI. Mike Wilbon had a great case where he talked about Miguel Cabrera in the 500th home run.
Saw that.
And it just wasn't – it didn't grab the national media the way that he thinks that it should have. And I think it's all tied in together. And D-Mac and Joique, I think you guys can both speak to this. I don't want to do that whole old bit, well, they hate Detroit. I don't think that's the case, but for whatever reason, Joique, I don't think Detroit gets the run that it should. I think that's certainly true. And with Stafford going to L.A., now it fits that narrative where you can write these feel-good pieces about him. And D-Mac, I asked you about that as well. You guys felt that, I'm sure, where you didn't get the credit you deserved.
Well, not really. We talked about it where Steve Eisman, arguably, you'd forget, was the number 3 guy, the bronze medal holder in the 80s points race with Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. And then he evolved his game to a two-way player that won cups. So I said to you, we were more like the Yankees, where we were at the top and teams are always trying to knock us down, but it's the Detroit versus everybody. It goes back to Isaiah Thomas. It goes back to
right.
A lot of our old 80s Tigers play. Like, you don't really get the rub that you should or other people get other places. To finish on the Stafford thing, it's the national media acts like he was saved, and then the only thing missing, but it's not all his fault, but he was a piece of not being successful. So he still has that to prove out there. But to your Miguel Cabrera, and I thought Wilborn and PTI brought up a great point, it's sort of underneath the rug, sort of, as opposed to if it was a guy in St. Louis or if it was Albert Pujols or something, some guy that's nationally. What I would like to see when he gets 3,500 and he becomes the 8th person, will he get more shine to that and people recognize? But I think it's just the Detroit way. It's the way it's always been, and that's why you got to put your head down and work.
Yeah, Joique, do you feel that as a guy that came from this city, man? You're a product of this city.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were times where you felt that as well. Just Detroit, for whatever reason, just nationally. And it doesn't matter if it's Isaiah Thomas, pound for pound, the greatest player in NBA history. I'm talking pound for pound, certainly in the discussion for greatest point guard in NBA history, where he willed an entire franchise, took up a dormant franchise, and willed them to 2 NBA championships and beat Larry Bird and beat Michael Jordan and all that stuff. But Joique, you're a product of this city too. Why do you think that is, man? Like, why does it take a guy going to LA to start getting all the shine and everything like that?
So are you saying that when you're here as a player that you don't get the love you deserve to actually leave?
Yeah, nationally, yeah. Nationally, I think that is the case.
Nationally,
just all of it.
Yeah. All right, nationally. All right, yeah, nationally. Okay, I would say that because the city embraces you.
Oh yeah,
the city embraces you. Yeah, the city doesn't care. That's why we came up with Detroit versus everybody.
Right.
For that simple fact, for that simple reason. All right, and for me, I've always felt the love here in Detroit. That's why I even when I finished playing, I decided that I wanted to set up shop here in Detroit, even though I was already living here before I even played for the Lions. And so I just have that tie to the community. And so for me, it's never been hot cold as far as the love for the city and not giving me any love. And speaking of hot cold, have I told you about Northwestern Tech?
Yay!
Start a new career in the industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. To learn more today, go to northwesterntech.edu. Joique Bill, Neal Rule, Darren McCarty, and this is Big D Energy.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
We'll talk about it.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Neal Rule, Joique Bell, Darren McCarty in the house. Make sure you download that Woodward Sports app in the App Store, in the Google Play Store as well. It's all out there for you. Appreciate you if you're checking us out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. I mean, hundreds of you just firing off comments. You guys are fired up. I love it. You're engaged. Remember, every Friday, right here at Woodward Sports, we're going to broadcast one of the best high school football games in the state on the Woodward Sports Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So, again, high school football, it's back, baby. My alma mater, Fraser, in action tonight. We start our march to the state playoffs. I'll be keeping an eye on that. My guy, Coach Sklad. What up, Coach Sklad? Get it done tonight. I'll be out there in the building. But with all that being said, tomorrow, Oak Park, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, 7 p.m. kick right here on all the Woodward Sports social apps, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So make sure you check that out. big time matchups. Oh, man, look down that schedule. Chippewa Valley, Macomb, Dakota, West Bloomfield, Lake Orion, all the way going through. So make sure you check that out. Football is in the air. The Lions in action tomorrow. They wrap up the preseason as they will host the Indianapolis Colts. And, Alex, I know we have some Dan Campbell Lion sound from camp. We don't have that. Okay, I gotcha. But they are wrapping it up. And Dan Campbell did go out and address the media. I mean, there wasn't a lot of great shakes. But, Joique, I'll throw it over to you for this. It is a final preseason game. Keep in mind, too, we have Ballin with Bell coming up at 12 noon, where Joique will break down a Lions play, Najee Harris screen pass. He'll break it all down for us. But, Joique, wrapping up the preseason, what are you looking for? I mean, what are the players' mentality? What should the fans look for? Break it down, man.
I don't even know.
I don't either. That's why I asked you.
I don't even know, honestly, because this is our first time having 3 preseason games. So I don't even know if they're going to play the starters. I don't know if they're going to sit them out. There's been talk about them not playing the starters no more throughout the rest of the preseason. So I don't know if they're going to evaluate the people that's kind of on the limb. So I don't know. So I'll be glued. My eyes will be glued to the TV set to watch this game against the Colts. And I'm anxious to see what they're going to do, honestly, because usually this game would be the dress rehearsal for,
right.
But we don't have that. So I think, was the last week the dress rehearsal? No, because they didn't play that much.
It just seems like the preseason's been an afterthought this year. I mean, nobody's playing in any of these games. So, I mean, look, we had this discussion. It's played out. But my thoughts on it. Let's just cut another preseason game and add a regular season game. Figure it out financially with the players' union. And just do it because we're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, I won't say it's wasting anyone's time, because that 4th preseason game is actually the game where, like, the players who aren't drafted, the players that are on the limb, who don't have the big name, have an opportunity to go out there and play majority, probably 2 to 3 quarters
right.
of the game, and got to put their body of work on film, get a body of work on them, and go out there and do a audition for 31 other teams, not just the team you're playing on. And so when you take that game out the equation, I don't know exactly how it's going to work going down the line, because at the same time, the starters, they need these reps as well. So how do you make sure you have your team as healthy as possible, getting as many reps as possible, and having them ready for a 17-week season or a 17-game season? How do you do that? And so I want to see what the injury rate is going to be this year. Is it going to go up? More than likely, yes, because you have an extra game. And so I guess we sit back and wait.
Yeah, and that's the thing, D-Mac, and you and I are fans.
Right.
I know you support my plan.
Definitely. Joique, here's my question, right? When the starters don't play or whatever, how do you get the rust off or take a lick or get a hit? Is it the first game? Like, a lot of guys are going to get hit for the first time because you don't have the calluses built up in your body. I mean, that first hit's going to hurt. I know for us, definitely in training camp, if you get in as a veteran, maybe you play 4 or 5 games, but man, you'd be running around about the 3rd game or so and probably looking for a fight just to get back into it. How do they do that in football? Right? If they're not playing, like, it's got to be that if the running back's not playing, he takes his first hit on game 1, and it's a defensive end, and tight end misses his block, and next thing you know, you're a pancake.
Well, and to piggyback on that, Joique, how much has it changed? And I know it's even changed a lot since you stopped playing and you retired, and it continues to change. But that quote unquote live fire in practice, in the training camp and everything like that. I mean, is that enough? Are we overvaluing this? Are we undervaluing this? I mean, what's your gut say?
Yeah, so it's friendly fire,
right?
Friendly fire, and in practice during training camp, you have a few live sessions. It might be goal line. We have a few live sessions where you can take the running back down. You can go all the way out, and then you have times where it's stud, stand up, don't go down, stay on your feet. And sometimes you have guys coming in so fast that you get a little friendly fire. You have a a safety running into a quarterback, into a cornerback trying to make a tackle on a running back. So you have all these things that's going on. But when you get into a game and you don't play the preseason, you come out for, and like he said, building up those calluses. I remember when I go to get my pedicures, they try to use the foul on the bottom of my feet. No, don't touch that. Leave those there. Leave that there. We don't. I don't need no blisters. Like leave that there. It took me years to build those up.
That's the truth. I used to not wear socks in my skates. This since a kid or whatever like that. But your feet would become so tough. You wouldn't even need to wear. It'd be like having a pair of sandals on.
Yeah, it's just like taping your ankle. Like I didn't tape my ankles during practice, even though they try to make it mandatory for players to tape their ankles. I never taped my ankles. And I learned that from Fred Jackson because he said you tape your ankles all the time, it'll deactivate the muscles to keep your ankles stable. So I said, it kind of made sense. So I tried it for a couple weeks, and my ankles were sore. Like
because the muscles were being used that weren't being used before, right?
It was sore. But I never taped them, and then for like game day, I would tape them a little bit, just to have it because it's going, it's a little bit harder. You get to the bottom of that pile, they try to twist your ankle at the bottom of the pile, and so for the games I would tape them. But during practices, they would get really, really sore, and then after about a month, the pain went away, and my ankles were strong. I never had ankle issues, and so. It's kind of like how it is. You need that preseason to kind of build up your immune system to those hits, and it gets you tougher. And so you need that. When you don't have that, you go into the first game with it. It's going to wake you up. So you're either it's going to wake you up. That first hit is going to wake you up, and it's either going to have you think twice or you're going to rise to the occasion. So
Lions will get the cut down to 53 coming up on next Tuesday.
Pedicure? I can't find anybody to do my feet.
You can't find anybody to do your feet.
I don't hate anybody that much.
Do we have that Martin? Do we have that Martin clip when Sinead? What?
Yeah,
you remember? They had to use a sand.
One of those sanders, like
like a sander.
Something like that. Maybe not that bad, but close.
Close.
Here's a quick question for you, Joique, that DJ Def Jeff asked. He said, my question is, does the multiple signing of running backs seem excessive after having Swift and Williams secured instead of trying harder to unearth a wide receiver? What did you make of... they did bring in some running backs and stuff like that. Again? They wanted to know. They said, did the multiple signings of running backs seem excessive? They kind of had a, but it's a high impact position, right? Especially in a training camp scenario. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, right?
No, because that's going to be our strength, and so you're going to need to get as many running backs in because you never know what can happen with Swift. Swift can, I want him to go through the season where he's going to be available. I don't want him to get that reputation of, he's injury prone, And so I need him to go through this season and be able to be available for his team. I think Bill Russell said it the best. The best thing you can do for your team is be available.
Right.
And so I need that from him this year. And so you have a running back or a guy playing running back, which is the most injured position. The lowest lifespan in the NFL. You're going to need running backs to be able to come in. Even if they don't play during the regular season, they don't make the team, at least they're familiar with the playbook. So if we do get hurt at that running back position, we can call them 6-7 weeks down the road and bring them back in, and they're already familiar with the playbook, and so they can throw them right in to the fire with the game plan. The game plan, you have a playbook that's about that big, about this big, and you have the game plan that's about that big. And so they come back in for the game plan. They can learn it quick. They're already familiar. And, I think what they're doing is smart.
Joique, what about that, too? As we talked about, the cuts going down, the 53-man roster will be in effect on Tuesday. So after this preseason game, the Reaper's coming for some folks. And, this was something certainly that you lived. What's that experience like for the guy on the Detroit Lions who the roster?
The red capes are coming.
Yeah, but I mean, take me through that mentality right after that game's over, especially if if the game didn't go the way you wanted it to, maybe you had a mistake or two in there. What's that like to know that your career may hang in the balance?
Let me let me break that down after you tell us about Papa Romano's.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Because I'll always talk pizza for you. Papa Romano's handcrafts pizzas that have made them a Detroit favorite for over 50 years. House-made dough, hand-cut veggies, fresh cheese make the difference. The same quality goes into all of their pizzas, salad, subs, and pitas. You can order now. It's lunchtime, folks. So get it in. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Welcome to the Call Sam Chopper Shop, where you can win a custom-built chopper while helping our veterans at the same time.
Watch as the Bad Pig Custom team turns this bike into a one-of-a-kind classic chopper.
And when it's finished, we'll be donating the bike to Volunteers of America Michigan to raffle off in support of our vets.
A great cause to give back to those who've given so much.
Watch for Call Sam Chopper Shop episodes on our social media channels and get your raffle ticket today at callsam.com/chopper shop.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule, Joique Bell, D-Mac, Darren McCarty here with you. Lions wrap up preseason play tomorrow. The Colts will be in town. They will get down to 53 players on Tuesday. The Reaper is coming. But Dan Campbell did discuss DeAndre Swift. And I think the Lions are a bit of a unique case because the biggest questions everybody has about this football team won't be answered through preseason play. Won't be answered through guys getting a couple of reps in an exhibition game. For me, and Joique pegged it perfectly. He talked about DeAndre Swift, and this is a guy, and look, our hopes for this Lions team, I think as a Lions nation, as a Lions fandom, the boat took on some water after what happened in Pittsburgh. I think we can all agree on that. But DeAndre Swift's going to be a key piece. Dan Campbell updated everyone with what DeAndre Swift is going through right now.
The ones that concern me a little bit are the ones who haven't got much practice, and Swift concerns me a little bit, just with getting his wind back and being able to take a load. How much can he? Where he's at. He'll be out here today too. He'll be more involved than he's been. But those are the ones, to be honest with you. But it's always a challenge, yes.
Necessarily with what he's going through, none of the groin issues or anything like that. But, I mean, just from that perspective, obviously there's got to be validity to what he says. He's the head coach. But backing up to the whole preseason thing for me, DeAndre Swift isn't going to show me anything in a preseason game that's going to make me think, all right, this is the year that availability is going to be his thing. He's just got to do it, right? I mean, it's as simple as that, isn't it?
So he's coming off his rookie year, all right? Coming off of it, and he missed games last year. And him going into this season, we thought he was going to be the man. I thought he was going to take over. I heard nothing but good things from the scouts. He has an NFL type body. He has an NFL type work ethic. Everything about him was positive, right? There's going to be little nagging injuries like this that he's going to have to stay on top of throughout the season. And this is going to be the part where we see how big of a professional he really is, because these type of things can hurt a lot of players. I remember I played with guys, I'm not going to say any name, who they had nagging injuries the entire year, and they were a shell of themselves. And so I don't want that to be his case, because he has a lot of potential, and he still has a lot of growth that he's maturing as a player. And so I want to see what he can do. And I'm excited to see what he does this year. So,
and D-Mac, it signifies something. I think Swift signifies something. The hope, his talent, certainly when you look at what he's been able to accomplish already, he's a dude. It's clear he's a dude. But to be a dude, you got to be on the field. And I think it's important not just for the running game or not just for the structure of the offense. I think it's important for the fans. I think it's important for the organization, because he's going to be perceived as one of those guys that's going to turn this thing around.
Well, you look at that draft last year and the two guys that we're talking about that we want to see big things out of. We expect, when he's healthy, DeAndre Swift to be an impact player. We don't know about Jeff Okudah yet, but these are two young guys that are integral parts moving forward. We are hoping as a fan base. I got to agree with Harrison online. I want to get past week 8 and to see what we got, right? We know that, but to see what I'm focusing on And there are things maybe in this game is the offensive line cohesion. If we're going to base our culture on the offensive defensive line, what does it look like? Because those are the trench warfare that you can do it. Now, obviously, guys being healthy and is a huge thing. DeAndre Swift is a big part because, like I said before, with Jared Goff, keeping him upright, keeping him protected, but also, too, the tight end, the running backs out of the backfield, they're going to be a big part of the offense. So he's an integral part, and as a Lions fan, we want to see him healthy and durable.
Yeah, absolutely. Joique, before we went to the break, you said you were going to tell me this because I love this kind of stuff. This is like, because I'm a big Hard Knocks guy. I haven't started watching the Hard Knocks for the Cowboys this year, but usually what I'll do is when I sit down and watch it, I'll bang through all the episodes in,
do you have a favorite
in 2
one
nights.
Of the past?
I really like the Bengals one because I'm a huge Pac-Man Jones guy.
Okay.
I love Pac-Man Jones. That was a guy I wanted the Lions to get, and I don't care about the circus is what I love because Joique.
It's funny. His mentor is my neighbor.
Really?
Yeah, he was his mentor when he worked in when he lived in Cincinnati when Pac-Man was there. So that's funny you say.
I was a huge Pac-Man guy.
World,
I like the entertainment. I do. I like character. I like fun. I like teams that score a lot. I like that kind of stuff, man. And Pac-Man was great. I really like the Cincinnati Bengals one. But Joique, when I think about Hard Knocks, I always think they have like that kind of damning music a little bit, and the coach is walking through the hallway, and they're knocking on the door. You know, when you hear that knock, just that whole night before, where you know the Reaper could be visiting. What's it like?
That's not what it is. That's not what it is. That's for TV. That's not what it is.
Oh my God!
That's my whole life is a lie.
Have you
my
ever?
God, my whole life is a lie. Yeah, no, that's not how it really happened.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't happen like that.
How's it happen?
So when you hear a knock at the door like at 4:35 in the morning, you got to go take a drug test. That's what that means. When you have to get your stuff and go home, I'm just saying, I've never heard of anyone or played with a person or like you go back to the facility for practice, and when you're there at the facility, they'll just tell you to bring a playbook to the coach's office. That's what it is.
Okay,
yeah.
But what about that though? When you hear that sentence,
get your playbook, and you know what? It depends. It depends, right? It depends on the body of work that you put on film. When they called me to the coach's office when I was in New Orleans, I didn't have any issues because I knew I left it all on the field. So when they called me up there to the office, said bring your playbook, and I go sit down, I had not a lick of worry in my body, not a lick. And so when I'm sitting down, and I just want to hear what he says, because I know Fred Jackson taught me that. He said, listen, you might not make this team because it's going to be a numbers game, but you're going to be around this league for a while. And so when I got cut from Buffalo and they brought me back on practice squad, I kind of knew what it was. I kind of knew, okay, I know I'm good enough to be here, but it's just a numbers game. They got Marshawn Lynch, they got Fred Jackson, they got C.J. Spiller. They don't need any more running backs. Okay, cool. I felt the same way when I was in New Orleans. They had the Darren Sproles, they had Mark Ingram, they had just drafted first round. They had Pierre Thomas, who was a seasoned vet,
right?
And they had Chris Ivory, who was a dominant running back who actually played in my same conference in the GLIAC when he went to Tiffin. So I'm like, well, if I don't make this team, I know I put enough good. I know I have a lot of good film out there that 31 other teams can see me. But when they told me I made the team because I played so good, I made them keep me. That's when I was like, oh. And I wasn't worried about what they was going to tell me in that meeting room because I knew they didn't want me. I knew another team wanted me. And so, but it just worked out that I was able to stay there, and I ended up coming to Detroit from New Orleans. And so, but and some guys, when you go into that room and you know you put boo-boo on film, So you need to be worried because that was your audition for the 31 other team, and they're looking at the same film you're looking at, and you know you put boo-boo on that film. So you better be worried.
No, but D-Mac, so I guess it breaks down, and while I'm crushed,
don't put boo-boo on film.
Well, yeah, but that's but in your heart, I guess, D-Mac, you know, you went through this a couple of times, I guess, like certainly when your career kind of comes to an end, in your heart, you know, right? I mean, you know.
You got to be, like
It's
you said,
like everything else.
Self-awareness as a player was top-notch. As a person, not so much.
Right.
But, you can only give and enjoy. That's it. To anybody out there, no matter what it is that you do, if you put it all out there and then you look at yourself and you say, I did everything I could, and sometimes it's a numbers game. Sometimes it's not the person making the decision. What did you do? Did you take care of your part? Then you got to move on, and you got to understand that, okay, well, you're wrong. It wasn't meant to be, but something else. So I agree. Don't put boo-boo on film, and then you can walk around and be proud of what you've done and what you've accomplished.
You know what else you shouldn't do, Joique? You shouldn't crush somebody's enjoyment, and you shouldn't crush somebody's existence the way you did with me when you told me that the coach doesn't walk through the hallway of the hotel at 6 a.m. and knock on the door. No. Joique, you rattled my world, man.
No, I'll tell you this. I was in Chicago, and and so it would take me 2 hours to get from the practice facility back to my condo downtown Chicago. 2 hours every day. 2 hours every Wednesday, every Thursday. It would take me 2 hours to get through that traffic to get home. I get home after my 4th week with the Bears, and they called me as soon as I get home, asked me if I could come back to the facility because they wanted my playbook. I said, well, I'll mail it to you. I'm like, y'all was just there. I'm not driving. I'm like, well, y'all can send me a car because I'm not driving back. And so they had to send me a car. I wasn't about to, no.
Absolutely.
No, I wasn't about to do that. No.
That's the one thing too. That would suck. That's talk
no.
about insult to injury.
Yeah. Well, D-Mac, I think that would cut you pretty deep if something like that happened.
You know what? Oh, didn't even make the noise. What's the matter? Did I ruin it? There we go.
There
CoastPortland.com. Yes, WSN 20 for 20% off. Yes, that you might need that knife to cut through that traffic. Or these beautiful lamps. Go to CoastPortland.com, WSN 20% off. But check out the great catalog, because why? Because tomorrow's Friday. Hashtag How We Coast. Any way you Woodward Sports Network, let me know. I'm giving away $100 gift certificates. Until then, go to CoastPortland.com. Check out all the great stuff they have. Tell them Woodward Sports. Send them. We're Big D Energy. Bell, Rule, McCarty. See you in a minute.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule, Joique Bell, Darren McCarty. Big announcement in the world of college basketball yesterday. The local phenom, Emoni Bates, made his decision. He chose Memphis. Head coach Penny Hardaway, assistant coach Rasheed Wallace, Larry Brown in tow as well. And originally Emoni Bates did commit to Michigan State, reclassified, reopened his recruitment. He's going to Memphis, and it's one of those things for me, and I see this front and center, right? Being a college basketball announcer, you see the way not only the game has changed, certainly the game has changed. I think all of sports have changed a lot the last 5 years, last 10 years. But I think you're seeing it too, where these players, they're players. I know they're student athletes, but they're players. These players, they love the pomp and circumstance, man. They love the story, D-Mac. And again, we're in the social media age, as I talked about. Big event society. Everything's got to be a big event. If it's not a big event, it sucks. And I'm not saying he went there for the social media aspects. I'm just saying that, no one knows why Emoni Bates went there except maybe for Emoni Bates, his family, and the people at Memphis. And I don't judge, you got that freedom to go wherever you want. He's talented enough. He can go do it. That's great. Good for him. Good luck to you. But he did turn down the G League and turn down a professional opportunity where we've seen the G League come into play, certainly with D-Mac's boy, Jalen Green.
So can I? Still, that's for you.
But through all that, though, I think you're seeing that evolution, too, where players want to be a part of the circus to some degree.
Oh, yeah, and especially this is a circus that he's kept going for the past year through, this name hasn't come up. My question to you, Neal, as a basketball guy, is his game comparable to a Penny Hardaway back in the day? Is he like that player? Because when you have Penny Hardaway, right, you have Rasheed Wallace, you have Larry Brown, part of your organization, you want to make it to the NBA or next level. I'm not the brightest guy here, but that seems like a pretty smooth way. Now, I don't know anything about Bates other than he's the highly touted recruit, but if his game emulates something that Penny can help him with get to the next level, that would make sense with that. Obviously, the NIL, name, image, likeness, cash cow, cash in, going there.
Home of FedEx,
so you
way,
said earlier you like the circus with the Pac-Man Jones. Well, you can pay attention to Memphis, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of, there's always going to be cameras on there, and it's going to see how he develops. But to play underneath professional guys that have done it, that have won, and have been successful, I think that I'm going to speculate, because I don't know the truth, but I'm going to speculate that is a big part of it.
No, and that is it. And if you want to cross correlation with football, I think it's a lot like Alabama with college football. And Joique, you could probably jump on board with this in that Alabama doesn't have to recruit anymore. I feel like they don't have to, because kids want to go to the league. If you're Emoni Bates, if you're the starting defensive tackle at Alabama, hell, if you're the backup running back at Alabama, you are going there because you know you are going to the league. And for Emoni Bates and being around Rasheed Wallace, being around Penny Hardaway, being around Larry Brown, that's the path to the league.
These also are some of the guys he grew up watching. He grew up watching these guys. So to be from Michigan, right? To be from Michigan, playing Ypsilanti, watch Rasheed Wallace win a championship here, and now you have an opportunity to go out there and go play. Come on. These are guys you respect.
Yes.
Right.
These are guys you respect.
And by the way, you're not the only top 5 player that Memphis is bringing in.
Right. You bringing in who?
Durant?
Yeah, right. They bring in Jalen Durant. They bringing him in as well. So you guys have a squad. You got the top recruiting class. You're going to have an opportunity to go win a championship. Put your name, have your name hung up there on the rafters. Can you just see it going up right now?
You said Alabama, but is this the new Kentucky? Right, how
very well
the one and dones. It's Memphis. Like, is that what they're going to say? Come to us for a year. We'll get you ready. We'll get you pro ready.
Doing, though.
Yeah, Memphis was one of the original. Calipari, Calipari was there too.
Who else went there?
But it is. I mean, D Rose, Derrick Rose, during his time in Memphis, they played for national championships. That's what it is. And I know a lot of the local fans are upset, and they'll probably turn on Emoni Bates a lot because, again, he did commit to Michigan State. And yes, I know you can go to the league from Michigan State. They're chock full of lottery picks and chock full of NBA guys. I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, this is the new hype. This is the new sexiness and Penny Hardaway and Rasheed and all that stuff. And certainly you can't take anything away from Tom Izzo because the resume's the resume, and he's one of the greatest of all time ever to do it. And I'm never going to be one of these people that, and you get this every so often where they're like, oh, Izzo's out of touch, it's over, it's done. No. We hear that all the time. That's not going to be the Michigan State will be fine. But at the same time, it is turning towards this, Joique.
Yeah, because Michigan State isn't the Michigan State that we've grown to know, right? Since the Flintstones. And that's when I became an MSU basketball fan, and they just haven't been able to reach that height since. But I've been a MSU Flintstone fan since I was in junior high, and so for me, that's probably where all this noise is coming from. But Tom Izzo is going to be Tom Izzo. He's going to be here till he wants to retire. He's the Coach K of the North.
You know what the thing is too, is what as a player or whatever, whether you're talking Michigan or Michigan State, with all the extracurricular off the court, all the stuff going on behind. You mentioned circus, but he wants his own circus, not a circus. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering, and it's just a question that came into my mind, is did the stuff with the Michigan State, with Nassar, with Anderson, all that stuff that's going on behind the scenes, did he say, I don't want to, I want my own circus?
And this is just outside looking in. You go to MSU when you want to be coaching to be helped to develop as
Yes.
a player. Memphis is where you want to go. You want to be one and done. And if he stays longer than a year,
which I don't see.
Which
how that's
I don't
possible,
see. I don't see that happening. Then I would say, well, you were better off going to MSU. But if he's going to be one and done, go to Memphis. That's what That's what they're known for. MSU is known for developing players. Developing men. Go there and be one and done. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying go there and you're around people that you can relate to, people that you respect, because these are the people you watched growing up and you respect what they did on the court. Go and go live out your dream. I wish them nothing but the best. Nothing but the best.
No, absolutely. And we're seeing this now with college basketball as well, the one and done thing, and certainly, the option to go to the G League, because if it were me, and this, again, just like Joique said, I can't relate to this because I never understood, but if it were me, the G League option would be the option for me. I would take that $500,000 contract, and I would go play against men who are trying to hang on to be professionals, as opposed to going to play against college kids. And oh, by the way, I get $500,000 for it too. I mean, I'm about the money.
I'm gonna tell you this: how they just dropped this new rule with the NIL.
Maybe it's more profitable to go to college.
It's more profitable to go to college now, because right now they said both of these players might be able to earn up to $1 million in their first year.
Right.
Him and Jalen Durant, like they might both be. That's crazy to be able to go to college, get a degree, and then earn another $1 million while you're playing from a school that you're bringing in revenue to, off of your craft that you're trying to perfect. That's going to eliminate. So that's kind of what eliminated. When they had the other league that, who was that? Big Baller brand. They were trying to do the basketball league.
Yeah,
it was going around doing that, and then they started something that kind of. I don't know if they eliminated it or it wasn't as popular anymore or whatever happened. People going to G League, or you can go to college where you can be around other people like you. You can be around. You can network. That's the biggest thing for college. That's why I say I think everyone should go to college, not just for the education, but for the networking, because you're going to meet a lot of people there that might be smarter than you. That when you're playing, you can connect with these guys. And they're going to have your best interest because you guys built that relationship. Or we talked about it before with the MSU. Who was the player from the MSU that started the mortgage company?
Oh, Ishbia.
Yeah. It was Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia. And he looked out for some of the players that was on this team when he became a billionaire and brought them into the company. And so these are the type of relationships you build while you're in college. You don't build those relationships when you're in the G League.
Couple of questions coming in on the YouTube thread. Chad, but not that Chad, says, if I'm a top pick, I'm going to college and getting the Neal money. And my response to that kind of plays into the next one. JD Smith 3111 says, does Neal maybe entice players to stay all 4 years and get a degree versus one and done? And I would say no, because when you go to college, certainly as an NBA guy or as a hopeful NBA guy, you do your first year. Every year you stay after that, your resume gets dinged a little more and a little more, because the logic behind it is, as you get older, all the time you don't go to the NBA, you get viewed as damaged goods. If you're not, you don't see seniors getting drafted all that often, maybe in the second round, because the story's been told a little more, so you see what the ceiling is with those guys versus the hope. I guess you want to sell yourself when the hope is at the highest, when the ceiling is at the highest, the potential's at the highest. So that's why you'll never see guys that are top 5 picks. You'll never see guys staying there the whole time, because the question becomes, why are you in college? Why have you not gone to the league? And that's where a lot of times, kids that will go early because the NBA drafts on potential and what you could be. Mike G says, here's the best option: play junior hockey in Belleville, light the lamp for 50 goals plus, and punch Claude in the face as a pro. That was a good path too, right?
I like it. You know the best part about scoring 55 in junior? Kirk Maltby had 50. He had a great year. Not quite as good as me.
It always comes back to that, folks.
It always comes back to the grind line. Just remember that.
Yeah, it always comes back to that, folks. When we come back, great segment, as Joique Bell will be on the screen behind me. He will break it down, that whole Najee Harris screen pass And he'll talk me off the ledge a little bit about Jelani Tavai, which I'm cool with. That's why I do this thing, because I want to be educated, and I want Joique to break it down for us. It's Ballin' with Bell when we come back right here on Big D Energy, the Woodward Sports Network.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Opa! Introducing Papa Romano's new Greek pizza, a tasty blend of bold Greek flavors and Mediterranean toppings, including feta cheese and Greek dressing. Get a large Greek pizza for a limited time for $16.99. Order now at paparomanos.com.
Welcome back. Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Joique Bell back there clowning. He's about to break it down. One of my favorite segments that we do. Big Ben. Big Joique breaking down Big Ben. Look at that dude, man.
Going strong.
Break it down for us. Joique, talk me off the ledge here and break this thing down. The Najee Harris screen pass. Let everyone know.
All right, so real quick. Go to the formation for me real quick. Pause it now. So right now they're in the overload left. They're in 21 personnel. 12 personnel where they have one running back and two tight ends. And right now we're in our base defense, our base 4-3. You have a double sec out here with the receivers. And right now, this is why I said this play isn't as bad as you think. I actually commend him on this play because he actually did what he was supposed to do. And he had to make up for somebody else, and so that's why Tavai looked like he's out of position. But hit play for me, slow motion, and so rewind it back real quick. So this is not a screen pass, but it's basically just a crossing route. So rewind it back and just put it in slow motion for me. Right now he has his blocking assignment. No one comes. He gets out. He does a basic crossing route, and Tavai is going inside out, what he's supposed to do. Running the defender to
the sideline, right?
Not to the sideline, but to the next defender.
Okay.
The defender 94 slips and he's out of position, what makes it look like Tavai is just. If you look, he's inside out like he's supposed to be. He used to be in the flats. He used to be out here, and he comes and he actually blocks Tavai. He blocks him out of the play. Hit play, slow motion for me, and not only knocks him out the way, but doesn't even make a play. Tavai stays with the play. And if you look right here, he gives up on the play. The guy that messes up the play gives up on the play. This is the guy that I'm looking at. And he's rushing down the field. He doesn't give up on the play. Comes down there and he makes the tackle. And helps to save a touchdown. And so if you look at it, it looks like he's out of position, but he's really not. One thing I would say, we have that bend but don't break type of defense. We'll give you this under route, and we'll tackle you for 3 to 5 yards. We'll give you that, right? So play in the slow motion for me. He's coming down. He's making sure the backer doesn't come. He's not coming. He's going to get out across his face. Tavai sees him coming, but he has this deep route as well. He comes down to make a tackle. He's going inside out like he's supposed to. He's running the defender to the help defense that should be right here coming in. But he's so far back, he's out of position. And then he blocks Tavai and doesn't make a play on the ball at all. Doesn't make a play on the ball. And now Najee Harris is able to go down the field and use his open field ability. He does a great job. Harris does a great job of getting off the sideline. Makes another defender miss right here from 5 yards away. I don't know how.
He buckled.
I don't even understand.
That's Okudah.
I don't even understand how Okudah got broke down that bad from 5 yards out. But great run by Najee Harris. Way to get out there in open field, make a play. And just bad defense all around for the Detroit Lions. So just bad defense all around. But it's only bad defense by a few steps.
Sure.
This could very well just be a 3 to 5 yard play and not this. But Najee Harris was able to go out there and showcase his talent. So,
but Joique, I mean, when you look at it too from that perspective, and I appreciate like the way you broke it down there, that the whole sideline protection, the sideline's a defender, right? I mean, we were told that since 7th grade, man. The sideline's a defender. How at that level, with that amount of talent, with Najee Harris, how do you forget that and then compound it by making it worse? Just, I mean, as we see it right now, you see with him being on the numbers, that battle's already fought and lost. When he's standing on the 50-yard line, it's a wrap, right?
If you look at it, he can't see his outside help slipping or falling. So he thinks his help is over there. And so when you play this game, you have to just do your job and trust your teammates to do theirs.
Okay.
His teammate was out of position. He didn't know. And then even when his teammates tried to recover, Najee Harris, he was too fast and got the edge and was able to get up the field. And the thing I like about Najee Harris is at the end of this run, at the end of this play, like a lot of young players, they don't realize this, that when you get to that sideline, you want to get off of that sideline because you want to give yourself room to kind of drift.
Because the sideline's a defender, right?
Yeah, because the sideline is a defender. Kind of like with the receiver. They want to make sure they have enough room so they can a quarterback can kind of drift them to the sideline if need be. He does a great job. He's on the sideline. He wants to get off. He starts to get off the sideline. He squares him up, makes him miss, and still is able to get back to the sideline, drift back, and get more yardage. I mean, that's a great run from a young player. And for him to know that and be aware at this point in his career, just, it makes me confident in this ability.
Real quick, I mean, with Najee Harris, you talked about that 2 tight end set. The Steelers will do that stuff all the time. That's a staple of what they do. That's who they are. I mean, he's going to ball out.
So
there,
really,
isn't he?
that 94 is Austin Bryant, correct? And so that would be if you're breaking down in film room or whatever where we go through this, because the one thing that I like, whatever Tavai is the no quit, right?
Quit.
So
no quit, and that's the thing I like about this. And the guy who actually is the cause of all this chaos in this play is the guy who actually gave up on the play of halfway down of chasing after Najee Harris. And that's what I'm going to watch when I watch the film.
Yes. I'm
watching Tavai's effort.
Yes.
And he's not giving up. Right?
Change my perspective more so to look at, okay, maybe a lot of the times, and yes, slow a foot or whatever, they want to say that, but a lot of times maybe it's just the bed not break and it's breaking.
All right. It broke right there. So
yeah,
but that's the name of the game. You want to bend but don't break defense, because you're going to give up. You might give up a big play here and there. You might give up, a 3 to 5 yard pass to prevent a 15 to 20 yard pass.
Right.
But that's the name of the game, because it's quicker. It's quicker to, stop and run forward to stop a play. It's harder to turn and run to try to stop a play.
Right.
And so if you look right here, he's dropping back. He sees a guy coming. He sees Ebron's coming behind him. He has to play that. And then when you see this pass coming down, that's when you shoot down. And what he does, he shoots down. He realized that he's going to catch the ball and turn around and be able to size me up. So let me just take him out to my defender out here that I know is sitting out here. But now 94 he slipped, he fell. He gets up. He takes a bad angle. And right now, the only thing that can beat a fast guy is a good angle. And he took a bad angle and lost that one.
What kind of year do you expect Najee Davis to have? Or Najee Harris?
Depends. I can tell you if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, I think he can get around 1,000 yards this year. If he stays healthy.
What does that tell you about his pass catching ability too? I mean, that looked fluid. That looked perfected from a rookie.
What looks good about this is when you run this route, we have this rule. So this looked like a straight just crossing route, and usually when you have zone, you want to cross the defender's face and keep going.
Yeah.
We have this rule when I play. Not every team does this. But it's called green grass rule. So if you're running across and you see it's cleared out on that side, you see nothing but green grass, you run to it. And understand that when you're running through or you're running in front of these big guys, these big men, if you can't see the quarterback, he can't see you. So him finding the hole and keeping going, like for him to keep going through it and find a window, get eyes, give the quarterback big numbers, turn around by still moving, catching it in stride, and then being able to turn, get your head around, turn upfield, and then make a guy miss. These are all the things that have to go into that play, because it wasn't a screenplay, but if you look at it, when he fakes the handoff, he's looking to see his blocking protection.
Yeah.
So when you do that pass, bro, you're going to have that backer to your side to the secondary. So he checked his backer, he checked the secondary, made sure no one was coming from the secondary, and then he continued to his route. So these are all the things we're looking at as we're getting out to the
A lot of
route.
stuff going on.
Million percent. Yeah, million percent, which I get. But, of course, as you figured it would, and like our audience that's watching on YouTube and the whole discussion right now, you know where the fault's going to start turning to Okudah. And everyone's going to jump on Okudah, and that's what they want to talk about with how he got shook.
Okudah.
It's a bad look, Joique.
It's a bad look.
Yeah.
It's a bad look. It was a bad angle. But honestly, if you look at the end of this play, even though it looked bad, he did his job. He made sure he didn't cut back across the field. He knew he had help inside, but for him to slip just makes it look worse than what it really is. But he kept the defender, he kept the ball runner on his inside where he knew his help was. He knew his help was coming behind him.
Right there, that was a subtle stiff arm. That he stiff armed him out, like the timing of the stiff arm, like that's such a subtle thing that he was able to play.
But this doesn't look subtle at all, right here.
The effort right
here,
ankle
breaker.
is on film. If you look at the effort of 94, like he's giving up, he's giving up running right now. And Tobias running full speed. Now that's not settled, but he knew he had his help out here, and he made him turn inside to his help and help save a touchdown. It looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad though.
And Joique, that's a question that I gave to you yesterday when everything is magnified and you're playing these preseason games and you make the mistake, like if it's me and I make that mistake, I'm going to be the dude that chases him down. Like I have to go. I'm not, and even if I can't, like even if my physical skills aren't there,
you want to know how fast I'm going to die.
Just
give one away.
It's
give
like
one away on a back check, and then you want to see how fast you are.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 50 Cent. I'm going to die trying.
Yeah.
If I can't get there, I'm going to die trying. And that is that a motor thing, Joique? Is that a frustration thing?
I can get back out there if I got third downs for you.
Yeah.
So if I show you right here, if I show you right here and it came back around. No, but things happening in another segment with Ballin with Bell. Tap back in next week. I got these for days. Make sure you tap in. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm David Hall from All Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
Morning, Art. Morning, D-Mac.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Neal Rule, Joique Bell, Darren McCarty here in the house. That was Ballin with Bell. Great segment, man. It is. It's one of my favorites, and I learn. See, Joique, like I'm coachable, man. I'm willing to learn, and that usually is the case too. And I'm guilty of this just like anybody else, man. I watch the ball, so when and that's what I do by trade. And it's hard. That's why you have a color analyst, by the way, in broadcast. For real. Like, that's why you have somebody there that knows what the hell's going on. Because I don't. I'm just watching the ball and telling you what's happening. But those are the things that are great. And I really, really appreciate, Joique, you doing that every single week, man. And the fans love it, too. Again, just check the clicks on the YouTube channel. Fans do love that bit. But, the reaction.
Do you love it? Do they love it? Do they really love it?
They love it.
I think
Joique, they love it.
I really love it.
Yeah. No, I do, too. I mean, if anything else, it's great for me.
We're keeping it because you got two guys here that you're going to find stuff that you want to show us, Joique, and we're going to ask you different things, and I'm sure you're going to laugh at us a few times, but it makes it, Neal, doesn't it make it so you understand, oh, okay, so now I understand a little bit more the heat on why isn't he cut? Why didn't they cut him immediately? Because you know what? They know more than we do.
Well, here's where I go to though, Joique. I go to what Nick's saying. I get what you're saying.
I like that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I get what you're saying. Maybe they're playing good fundamental football, but given their draft position, they should be playmakers. They are not. That is the issue. Nick, you verbalized it.
That's exactly what I wanted to get to, and that's exactly why we have Brad Holmes here now. And Bob Quinn isn't here anymore because of picks like this, because of players like this that was brought here under his regime. And I'm not saying it was a bad draft pick, but it was a bad round pick. I think we could have got that value at a later round. And so I agree with what Nick said. You said it perfectly.
No, and that's the thing. I think that's where everybody comes back to with it and that's my problem. The draft, you know me, huge draft guy, huge rookie contract guy. And these are the linchpins that have to hit because if you draft a star, not even a star, they don't have to be stars, playmakers. And Joique, you and I have talked about this in the past. You don't have to be a superstar, but some dudes just seem to make plays for whatever. And they don't do it all the time. But when the money's on the line, when the chips are on the table, some dudes just happen to make plays. Yeah. And we haven't seen it enough with Tavai. And that's my issue, given the resources that were used to acquire him.
It reminds me of that movie, Any Given Sunday. Spinning off that tackle and making that last hit to get his bonus, I'm worth $1 million. When the money's on the line, we'll make plays because it's our livelihood. But sometimes people, even with that being the case, they still don't have that ability. And from what we're seeing, Tavai just hasn't showed that ability because even with that being the case, he still had an opportunity to make the tackle. Even if you have to do the big man tackle, dive for his legs because one thing that I was taught when I played defense, running back cannot run without his legs. So I'm diving for those legs.
Right,
because I'm going to do the wrap and roll. I'm wrapping and rolling. And so even with that being the case, it was good fundamental football, but like you said, we need playmakers. If you drafted that high, he could have made that play.
Is it lack of talent or ability or coaching, or is it just like
no?
Are they slow?
That right there has nothing to do with coaching.
No, I know that doesn't.
That there has nothing to do with none of that. He was in the position to make a play. He has to make the play.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm saying like in the overall sort of
grand scheme
of thing, because I want guys that are going to give me the effort. The biggest thing that I learned off that is what's Austin Bryan doing, causing the play and then not being at least given everything else. Right?
That's practice.
Culture things.
That's practice.
Practice?
That's practice. And like I told
you,
some
effort,
guys,
isn't it?
Some guys have that switch where they can turn it on and off when they want to. You have guys who just have to be on all the time because they don't have that ability. We will call those players guideline players. Guideline players are the players we tell, listen, you do this exactly the way I tell you to do it. And you have players you give the green light to. Calvin Johnson has a green light. Golden Tate has a green light. Sue has a green light. DeAndre Levy, green light. Right? These guys have a green light. Who can I think of? When he was here, Kyle Van Noy, when he was here in Detroit, guideline player. Do what we tell you to do. Don't go outside the norm. Just do what we tell you. He was a younger player. And they usually tell that to the younger player. Do what we tell you to do. Don't go outside of this. When you have guys that's been here who's kind of proven they can do what they want to do out there because they're playmakers. They can make it. But right now, we don't have that.
And that is the problem. Again, because it's a playmaking league. You make plays in this league, and that's what flips a football game. It is, man. I mean, we see it every single Sunday. When Red Zone jumps onto your game, someone's making a play, and you need those chunk plays, man. You need big plays. That's just the nature of the beast. Because look, you know this, Joique. In the NFL, I know there are bad teams, and I know there are good teams.
It's a numbers game. Yeah.
It's a numbers game, and I'll tell you even another example of it being a numbers game. It's usually 4 to 5. 4 to 5 plays, right? There's 4 to 5 big plays
that can change the momentum of a game.
That change the entire
game. It can be one play.
It can be one, yeah. But that's how fine the line. And granted, there are good teams, there are bad teams. There's the Jaguars of the world, there are the Lions of the world, there are the Patriots of the world. There's the Rams of the world. All that stuff. But with all that being said, it usually does come down to a couple plays. That's how fine the line is.
Yeah, if you look at some of the mic'd ups, if I don't know, they might cut them out. But I know during the game, you'll hear coaches or you'll hear players go down the sideline. Who's going to make a play? Who's going to make a play? You know, you have players on the sideline. Listen, if you guys take this kickoff back past the 50, everybody's going to such and such. If y'all take it back for a touchdown, I'm taking everybody to da-da-da. You'll hear that a player trying to hype up other players before a particular play, because all it takes is one play to change the momentum of the game, because it's all about energy. I talk about this on the show all the time.
Big D energy.
Big D. It's all about energy. And so when you start to make a play, and I take it back to we're playing the Patriots, and it's preseason, and I had a good run. I run down the sideline. I break a tackle, spin off. They thought I was down, stayed up, got another 5-6 more yards, broke another tackle. And when I ran into the sideline, they pushed me out of bounds. Nick Fairley came up to me and threw his shoulder into me. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. And that was the hardest hit I took on that particular play. And then so when I came back to the sideline, I said, listen. He pulled me. He said, listen, when you run like that, that gets me fired up. I love watching you run. And that's kind of when I realized, dang, they really feed off of this, you know. And every player is different. Every team is different. And so I was like, you know what? When I play, I'm not just playing, you know, for us to win, but I'm playing to fire up our defense as well.
Same.
I want to fire them up. And so that's kind of the mentality I had when I played. And like I said, you need that energy. You need it, because you ever look at a sideline and you hear the commentator say the sideline looks flat, they look dead, and you just need that one person to make that play to bring that life back. You need that one play to make a play to bring that life back.
In our game, that's you get upset or you find, you know, momentum not your way, or the guys are flat. That's when I go out and pick a fight. Right, you get the guys going. The fact or grind line goes out.
You just want to change the physiology.
Well, you know, make a big play, block a shot, do something out of the ordinary to get. Because sometimes to join, it's when you get guys to lean down. Okay, am I doing my part? If Steve Eisman's going out there and blocking shots on one leg, what the hell am I doing? Right, I got to give it. And that in our dressing room, because of the pedigree in the room, it was always pushing each other to be better. You know, that's why a lot of us overachieved. It's just because we were put in that situation, but we knew imperatively. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to change the game and I'm going to score a goal. No, I'm going to change the game because I'm going to go put your defenseman to the third row, or I'm going to pick a fight and try to get the guys going that way. And a lot of times, right, that's when you use the atmosphere. You can shut down an opposing team's fans by beating up their guy or give you guys a rush, or at home you can get like Joe Louis going. That was the best part. Best part about the fights, yeah, I'd take a few punches and break something or bleed, because when the fight's done to the penalty box or to the bench, there's nothing like those crowd cheering. And it gives you those chills of the appreciation. So it's the same sort of thing. You get your guys fired up, you find out what it is, and you go out there and you do it.
Hey, Joique, how bad a dude was Nick Fairley?
How bad of a dude?
Yeah.
Like, you mean as a player?
Yeah, I mean just like a bad dude, like a dude, man.
Yeah, I love Nick. I used to love Nick. I used to love Nick. Nick was he was big time. I mean, you look at that whole line. I mean, our defensive line was stacked.
Oh, it was one of the best ever.
No, it was stacked. I mean, even our backups coming in was putting in work. Like, it was. I mean, cause we'll start with like we'll have Nick Fairley, we have Big Sue. We'll have Ziggy Ansah coming off the right edge.
Right.
Yeah, you had Jason Jones coming off the left. You had DeAndre Levy.
People forgot about Jones.
People forget. You can't forget about Jones. They forget about him, but he was a monster.
Yeah.
Him and Ziggy coming off the edge. Oh, God. There was some animals. Gorillas. Oh, boy. I would not have wanted to play against our defense. I wouldn't want to. I would if I had to. I would if I had to, but I wouldn't want to.
Right, I get you.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, you had DeAndre Levy, who was second in the league with tackles, one tackle behind Kuechly. You had Stephen Tulloch. You had Tahir Whitehead. You had Slay at one corner. You had Rasheem Mathis at the other. GQ, Glover Quinn, and then you had James Ihedibo. Oh, we had a
Hedebo was one of those guys, too, that got drafted later in the James Hedebo was one of the kind of dudes I'm talking about now that this Lions team never has.
Yeah, right. And then coming off the bench, you had C.J. Mosley.
Right.
C.J. Mosley coming off, replacing like Nick Fairley and not missing a beat. Not missing a beat. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah,
some good times.
People are talking about it.
Those are some good times. We had some animals.
Yeah, fans right now on the YouTube thread. I love that 2014 Lions team. The Cowboy, got cheated by the Cowboys. A defense was crazy good. People were talking about Sue and Nick Fairley. I mean, those are some good memories. That team was a different level. They were a different level.
That team was a different level. Levels in Center Line is now open. Come experience the next level in cannabis on Sherwood between 9 and 10 mile. Download the app today and start collecting points so you can level up. Search Enjoy Levels in your Apple and Google Play stores right now. Again, it's Enjoy Levels in your Apple and Google Play stores right now. Make sure when you stop by, make sure you let Levels know that we sent you. Big D Energy sent you. What was sports?
Hi, I'm David Hoffman, Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
Morning, Art. Morning, D-Mac.
Back at it here, Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Rule. Joique Bell, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house as well. Fish is in the bowl. Stick in the building also. And we are, again, I love that Ballin with Bell segment, man. We were chopping it up. Turn to the 2014 Detroit Lions defense discussion. I'm always game for that. Woodward Sports will be your home for high school football every Friday. We will broadcast one of the best high school football games in the state right here on the Woodward Sports Facebook and YouTube channels, Twitter as well. It all starts tomorrow, Oak Park at Orchard Lake, St. Mary's. That game will kick off at 7 o'clock, so make sure you are live and in effect for some good high school football.
Quick question, because we got Stick in the on the ones and twos. Stick, we both agree that the Orchard Lake St. Mary's unis are fire. Are they wearing those? Are those their unis? They're all reds or whatever?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to rock those tomorrow.
Anybody who gets a chance, check out the fire.
Oh, they're amazing.
Put it this way. Joique's Ferraris he wore yesterday would be perfect with this uniform. So check it out. I'm all big and I love uniforms. Those are sweet too. Those look like autism tribute.
Oh, you said look like what shoes?
An autism tribute.
Oh, autism tribute.
Oh, yeah, like the little puzzle pieces and all that kind of stuff.
The puzzle pieces is associated with autism. Wow. Speaking of that, the 13th coming up, the Ted Lindsay Memorial Golf Outing at Detroit Golf Club. So
big time event right there, D-Mac.
Yeah.
When is that, D-Mac?
He's the man.
D-Mac, when is that?
Ted Lindsay passed away, but it's the 13th, and obviously Ted Lindsay's for Autism Foundation and stuff like that, what he's done. So I always look to Joey Kosher with his kids' foundation or whatever as the philanthropist to take over for Ted Lindsay. But, Ted was such a great human being.
Certainly, there is no question about that. But you did bring up golf, and D-Mac, yesterday on the show, we discussed J.R. Smith, who is an NBA champion, who is going back to college at North Carolina A&T, and he's going to play on the golf team. So that got us to thinking, what about D-Mac? He went straight to the pros. He didn't go to college. So, would we be able to get D-Mac eligible to play some college golf? And so I thought about it. Yeah, we'll get him to play for the Golden Grizzlies, where I work, Oakland University. So why not go to the source as we welcome in here on Big D Energy, the Oakland University Director of Compliance, my good friend, Mari Telashalski. And Mari, appreciate you taking some time and joining us here on Big D Energy. And Mari, I have to apologize because, with you getting married and everything like that, you changed your last name on me. And, with the pandemic and everything, I had a lot of chances to say it. But welcome in, and certainly do appreciate your time. How are you?
Yeah, no, and it's not a problem at all. I'm happy to be here. I love this stuff.
So Mari, help us. DMAC is here, 4-time Stanley Cup champion. I know you're a big hockey fan, which we'll talk about in just a couple of minutes, being your family holding season tickets to the Ducks there in SoCal. So break it down for us, Mari. How did this work? How can we get DMAC eligible? He played juniors in Canada, didn't go to college. So can he play? Can we sign him with the Golden Grizzlies now? How does that work?
So there would be a bit of a process to go through. Not saying it can't happen, but we would have to go through a couple hoops. So what the NCAA really cares about kind of first is, did you enroll in college at the first opportunity? So for most kids, that's right after high school. They give you a grace period, which is 1 year from when you graduate high school, and they say if you compete during that year, you're fine. If you compete at all after that, usually they'll penalize you for it. So at that point, the questions that I would have would be, okay, how many golf tournaments did you compete in? Did you receive any expenses for it? And then we'd probably be in waiver territory where we would ask the NCAA, look, I know that this happened, but we should probably just ignore the rule and apply it the way we want it.
So DMAC, answer those questions, man. How many golf tournaments did you play in? Did you receive any compensation or anything like that?
Does charity golf, when I'm giving my time to, and not monetary, but whatever the gift the gifts that you receive to play in a golf tournament. So nothing on a professional level. I have no professional cashings or anything, or I don't even know if I played in a pro tournament. So the answer on the golf front would be 0 to none, unless it's golf that involves charity that I've played in, but I've not been paid for that.
All right, so how does that work then, Mari?
So we would still have to report them. We'd need a list of all the tournaments, what expenses, if anything, right? So that would be if they paid for travel. We'd report the gift basket, even if it doesn't really matter. It would be submitted to them, and then we would say that it's amateur in nature, right? So they didn't pay you to do this. It wasn't something that it was kind of centered around you. It is still competition, so we'd have to report it. But again, if you weren't kind of part of that professional scene, we would just make the argument it was amateur in nature.
All right, so does it count, or would it make a difference if they didn't pay for the travel, they didn't pay for the housing, but yet they might have paid for just a round of golf? Does that count?
So it depends. Is it a round of golf with your buddies where you're just going out and doing more drinking than golfing, or is it an actual tournament, even a friendly tournament?
So my question.
It's a very non-complicated process with the NCAA.
I'm gonna say it's like the pro-am, where Chad went to go play in the pro-am, and say he went with DMAC was his partner. Would that be considered? Was it a prize for that? Or would it just come out and play some golf?
Yeah, that's like a charity thing, right? There's no prize or anything like that.
I think the thing that I'm understanding is that whatever you've done in golf, write it down and try to. My question is Mari, because of the NIL, right? Name, image, likeness. Does the NCAA, all these things where you say, let's just forget this rule or whatever. So it's more about reporting it and them allowing. Because does this J.R. Smith? Does this open something? Does this open a can for, I guess, former athletes or people who haven't gone to college to be able to go through this process? Not just being a professional athlete, but somebody who wants to do something, I guess, in college that didn't get a chance. That's the question.
Yeah, and the good news is with the name, image, likeness rules that passed, they used to ask all these questions about, did you get any endorsement deals? Did you get any, other expenses from outside companies? Now they don't really care about that. So that removes a layer that we would have to kind of report and ask about. As for whether or not this is an opportunity, I think you're going to see a little bit less in basketball because of the, one and done. So once you enroll for the first time, your 5-year clock starts ticking. So if you have to go to a year of college and then go to the pros, they're going to say, sorry, your opportunity is passed. Probably 9 times out of 10, I would say. So in basketball, at least, you're probably going to see it less now that I think J.R. Smith was the second to last group that was allowed to go straight to the pros before they were allowed to, or made to go to college, rather.
Yeah, I think that was the case. I don't remember exactly. We're joined with Mari Tilashowski here. She's the Assistant Athletic Director for Compliance at Oakland University. We're trying to get DMAC back into college golf like J.R. Smith. We're working on this, folks.
Well, here, it's just the conversation, too, because I use myself as an example, right? But there's also, too, guys that are playing hockey or playing professional that didn't go to college that are better golfers than I am, that just to have this, hey guys, did you know that you might want to look into this opportunity? Because that to me, it's just this was never an opportunity or a conversation to have, but all these things are coming out, like you said, with the NIL. So whether it's for me or for not for me, but I know there's somebody else out there other than J.R. Smith that would like to have this information. Right? Now, I'm just looking to be honest. I'm looking to recruit for you guys and bring in you some stud former hockey players that didn't make it that are good golfers. Because there's a ton of them.
What do you think about this plan, Mari? Can we get this thing working or no? Is this legal or no?
Okay, well, first of all, saying we're going to recruit for you is kind of like a heart attack moment for compliance because we can't recruit more than what's permissible, so don't do that. But as we all know, hockey players are great golfers, right? Those slap shots don't come out of nowhere. So I think it's the kind of thing, if they haven't been to college, I don't see why not. But also by the same token, if they were a player that made lots of money, I don't know why would you want to be a student athlete? I just had an 1.5-hour meeting with a team and they had to fill out like 10 different forms and they had to listen to us drone on about all the rules. I mean, is that something you can tell me as a former athlete? Like, would you want that?
You know what? It's a different, yeah. Because here's the thing: as an athlete, you're into challenges, right? You're into challenging yourself, and at certain points in your life, when your career is over, you're looking for different challenges. So I think it's the conversation of the opportunity. Because yeah, I think that there's tons of guys. The biggest thing, and it doesn't matter what professional sports, is that when you're coming to the end, what are you going to do in transition? A lot of people don't know, and it's that year or 2 years out. But if there's a conversation, hey, did you know this? Did you know that? I don't know. It's down to the individual. It's a great question, Mari, but I'm sure there's a couple out there that wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I'm going to say it might be some people out there that don't mind it because they can go back. They can play another sport that's not as strenuous on the body, have fun doing it.
Get an education.
And get an education. And start doing all that networking stuff that we talked about earlier. So would I go back and play another sport? Heck yeah, I would. Would it be football? No.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't play hockey.
But we're joined by Mari Tilashowski here, the Assistant Athletic Director for Compliance at Oakland University. Now, Mari, I have to ask you, I just started following J.R. Smith on Twitter. He's going to class. I mean, he's sitting in the classes, and the other people in the class don't believe it's him, but it is. I mean, this is legitimate, right? I mean, he's doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on Twitter too. He was kind of like, everybody keeps asking me who's going to my classes, and he's like, I am. I'm trying to learn something, right? I mean, I feel like it's kind of like if you have that opportunity to go to college that you may not have had before, why would you waste it? Especially when you have, at that point, you have a little more maturity, I would say, than the average college student on, I would say, the whole. Yeah. Some more than others. But, you know, I mean, it's kind of like you have the maturity you may not have had in your 20s to kind of have the discipline, sit down, go to class, and really see the value in it. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like student athletes have a lot of burdens on them, a lot of required meetings, a lot of forms, a lot of rules. I mean, all of those kinds of things. I mean, you could come back and be a volunteer coach if you wanted to, and that's a lot less stressful, I think. And I think it would be really, really cool for the kids to have that. So, I mean,
I think it is cool. I think it is cool. I remember going back for my master's at Wayne State and having to go sit in these classrooms. In 2014, I had probably been removed from college for about 4 years at the time. It was kind of weird, like going to the campus and walking around campus
and getting a parking spot and doing all that
like,
stuff.
It was weird, like walking around with the hoodie on or the hat on, or just just late at night. So I had the night classes, so I'll get there about 5-6 o'clock, and I'm there till about 9. And so it was different, but it was kind of like. It was kind of a surreal moment because I had did my undergrad there, played football there, and I was able to go back to my alma mater for my master's degree. And so it was kind of dope to kind of see how everything just kind of went full circle. And so I think it's cool for the students because they can see you on campus, and I think it's pretty cool. I think what he's doing is cool, and I think this is a great opportunity for him as well. All right, so. Good luck to him.
Yeah. Well, Mari, I talked about the fact that you can see in the background there where you are. You're from Southern California. Your family lives out there. Your family, season ticket holders, the Anaheim Ducks.
I was going to mention, I see your George Peros in the back. Listen, George Peros, I love that guy. I think he's doing the disciplinary now for the league, but he's an Ivy League grad. So it could be the smartest tough guy ever. I fought him when I was in Calgary. and he grabbed me and we squared off. He ripped my shirt. My shirt ripped all the way down to the middle, down to the thing, so he couldn't really grab on. But what a great guy. Out of any of the Anaheim Ducks that you have behind you, we're saying we're a chance because he's as good of a person, as you would want. So great mustache too.
Yeah, Mari. I mean, you're a huge hockey fan, right?
Yeah, I'm a nut. And as far as Peros goes, I mean, he did a charity where they sold little clip-on mustaches that looked like his. So I have a picture of my mom and I in the mustaches. I grew up in a hockey house. We've had season tickets since the Ducks started. My mom was a finalist to name the mascot, actually, and she's still bitter 20, 30 years later.
What was her name?
She wanted to name him Deke Duck.
That's pretty strong, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
So much better.
What did they name him?
Hockey fan,
What did they?
Wild Wing.
Oh,
Deke Duck would have been world's best. Your mom got job there.
Yeah, she got job. Deke Duck, I could see him. He's got one of those old school private investigator hats on with a stick.
Yeah.
There's Deke Duck.
It certainly
Your mom got
would work.
screwed, by the way.
Yeah.
If you want a Red Wing perspective, your mom got screwed.
Mari, I was talking with her yesterday when I was going to have her come on the show. She actually has a Darren McCarty story for you. You won't believe this, but
all right.
Tell the story, Mari.
All right, so we were on vacation in Sedona, Arizona, really hot, and the AC went out. So we called the repair guy to come over, and he's wearing a Red Wings shirt. And so, of course, as hockey fans do, you always start talking hockey. And he says, no, I love hockey so much, I named my dog McCarty.
Some dude in Arizona.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, so if you're a repairman out in Sedona, Arizona, Dan McCarty says hi, I guess.
Yeah, and to your dog, McCarty. So I get a lot of dogs named D-Mac or McCarty or whatever like this. They usually go with Brendan's or Steve's for kids.
Yeah. So Mari, before we let you go, can this happen here? I mean, what's your gut telling you? Can we get D-Mac? Is he going to be playing golf for the Golden Grizzlies or what?
I mean, yeah.
Would he be able to?
Especially, I think at this point, anything is possible. The NCAA is in so much upheaval right now. All the rules, the Constitution stuff changing. I mean, I feel like if you're going to ask for it, now's the moment.
Now's the time.
I love it.
What they're
saying is you're saying there's a chance. Samsonite for sure. I love it. That's awesome. Joique, we got a chance.
So can I come back and play?
I mean, I'd have to ask you the same kind of questions.
All right, ask me.
So, I mean, did you enroll in college at all?
Yes, I did.
Harder, I'm sorry.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I finally beat Joique at something.
But you said 9 out of 10, so it's still that 1% chance.
Yeah.
Or that 10% chance, rather.
In my office, anyway, like the policy is it's always worth asking because it's always a no if you don't ask. So I've submitted waivers that I thought were like the Hail Mary, you never know, but like I'm going to submit it anyway, and it got granted. So, I mean, I'll write that waiver any day of the week, but yeah,
I want to come play golf.
Me
and D-Mac wants to come and play golf.
All right, we'll talk.
We'll see what we can do. Mari, certainly do appreciate your time. You're a good sport, a lot of fun, good conversation, and we'll talk again soon. We'll have these questions as they pop up in the sports world. We'll reach out again.
Absolutely. Great to have you.
Where to find me.
On the speed dial.
Down there in the compliance office, I know. Mari Tilashalski, the Assistant Athletic Director for Compliance at Oakland University. We're working on it.
It's always loopholes. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull a Kanye West. I'm going to go and change my name from Joique Bell to just Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. I love
Juggernaut.
What you got, Fish?
And then Juggernaut has never enrolled in college before.
There you go.
Let's see what happens.
One, they have your face. But two, why are you trying to go for college golf when you can go to the Corn Ferry Tour and then make your way up to the PGA? Isn't that the easier path?
No, because you're going to get more money at the university.
Oh,
yeah, but you'll get to the PGA quicker.
Yeah, but Fish, you also have to look as the goal would not be for the PGA. The goal would be to go back
to challenge yourself and
challenge yourself to do school, but also enjoy along the way to be able to play some good golf courses and to do that. It'd be for the experience. But you're right as far as the path to the PGA, but that's way too hard.
Mike G says Joique can play if Mari can get him to say gang gang. So we'll get that coming. I know we're late for a break. Appreciate Mari coming on and having some fun with it. We'll come back from this break as we're coming down the stretch. It is Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back to Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Rule. He's Joique Bell. D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house also. But, you know, fans like that, you know, they're talking about. They thought it was pretty entertaining. I'm just telling you, though, D-Mac, this is the last we'll talk about it. Golden Grizzlies golf qualified for the NCAA Regionals last year. I mean, they won the Horizon League. They got it popping. Brian Stewart.
You got me sold. I'm sold on the talent stuff like that.
If you do want to get to the PGA Tour, you can get there from Oakland. Brian Stewart's done it, carved out a great career. PGA Tour winner in the past.
I was just going to try to work on my communication skills.
Well, yeah, certainly.
I like Joique's networking. It's a good place to network.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know,
stay in the freshman dorms.
Get that meal plan. Get that meal plan working.
Get the meal plan.
Get those swipes.
Get those Warrior Bucks.
That's what you.
They give you 100 Warrior Bucks every year. So, you know, and that was the kicker right there though. You get the 100 Warrior Bucks, $100 Warrior Bucks. And so if I swipe in my teammates throughout the day, that Warrior Bucks would go towards my meal at night. And so that's how I was able to kind of get through. Good time, man. We were some hustlers over there.
Hustlers.
Shout out to my Wayne State Warriors.
Yeah, you did it up, no question about it. We talked a little bit about basketball today with Emoni Bates and his recruitment as he ended up choosing Memphis. Cade Cunningham was in the news as well. And D-Mac's a tried and true, proven throughout social media, viral social media posts. He's a Cade Cunningham guy. There's no question about that. You know where he stands in the Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green debate. But one of the real appealing things about Cade Cunningham is just he gets it, right? I mean, just from the standpoint of, and this was D-Mac's big thing about him, was yes, he's young, yes, he's had 1 year at college, but he gets it, and he gets the space that he's walking into. And, Woodward Sports put out the tweet because Cade's been saying all the right things about Detroit, and he knows where he wants to be. And as far as Cade goes, he's in the house, D-Mac, and it looks like it's working well.
And it's not lip service, right? It's not lip service. From the time he went to the Tigers games, and he's been around before they picked him or whatever. This is the man. And he's still a child, but he's a man. He has a child. He's very mature. You can tell how he was brought up. He says the right things, but he means the right things. I can tell, bottom line, if you're full of shit or not. Right? So, and especially as a player and why? Because I played in this town. And like Joique says, the fans will let you know. Just what he's saying and his actions and knowing the history. I always say this along. The thing why Dylan Larkin has always been sort of like King Arthur waiting in the wings for the championships, because when I met him at 17 years old, he knew the history of this organization as well as I did as a kid who grew up in the 70s across the border. So there's one thing that's what Cade Cunningham has, and he will be successful because it's the human being that he is.
And Cade Cunningham saying he wants to bring that bad boys mentality back, Joique, and you're a product of the city as well. I mean, for me, that's something. It hits different when guys come to a town, certainly as rookies, and they get the time and space of what they're walking into. It's one thing to just show up on the scene and be like, "Hey, I was drafted here. Roll the balls out. Let's play ball." Like he's made the investment as far as getting to know where he is, and it's going to pay dividends for him, man.
Now and when he's done playing, depending on what he does here, everything he's saying, everything he's doing right now is everything that is what embodies Detroit. And so I'm glad to see what he's doing on the court. I like to see what he's doing off the court. I like to see what has his kind of his personality. And I just want people to be able to see the rest of the world to see the type of person he is in the community. So I want to see what type of things he's going to be doing in the community next.
Yeah, and Joe Dumars said, and this was a great quote, when the Bad Boys 30 for 30 came out, and Joe Dumars said, your team has to have an identity. And that's something that really opened my eyes because, Joique, we talked about that good Lions team with that defense. You even said it. Like, that was our identity on that team, was that defensive line. And we played out from there. And D-Mac, you know, maybe as well as anybody in this town, your identity dictates your fate. It does, and especially when you buy into your identity, that's your core existence. That's how you build everything from that out. You do have to have an identity. You can't just. Yes, it's important to have talent. Certainly, we spent all day talking about the Lions acquiring talent and everything like that. You have to have talent. I understand that, but probably more importantly is that identity. And for a guy that's 19 years old to roll in here and say, I understand that it works from the identity out, that's a big first step. Man.
And it's not me. It's us, we, right? Yeah. Where he's the type of person that I assume Dwayne Casey will have to tell him that he will need to do more of this just because of the way he's built, his makeup, the way he's set up, and the identity when it comes from your 19-year-old, your first overall pick. This is the stuff that when we talk about the Lions and Okudah third overall, that we're always like, this is what we're supposed to be saying about the Lions. But I'm just thankful we're saying about the Pistons. So it's so good. It's like having Steve Eisman again, right? Where you saw him coming in, with this team, and this team's further along with the Pistons because they have more pieces in place than what the Wings did back in the 80s, but he's got the same, I'm going to show you with my work ethic, I'm going to do it, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to be about it, and that's the Pistons way. And the fact he's talking about being bad boy mentality, you have to have grown up with it, you have to know it, right, to know what it is, and it's not the easy way out. Bad boy mentality is Detroit versus everybody mentality, and you got to say it, but you got to do it more than once.
It's different. I mean, the rules from that era to the rules now is not quite the same.
You're right.
I don't think we can do that anymore.
But the thought process is the same, though, Joique.
The thought process can be there. That gorilla can still be there. That tough, mentality can be there. But the way you go about it has to be slightly different. It has to be slightly different.
But, Joique, it was interesting when I asked you about Nick Fairley, and I'm like, how bad a dude was Nick Fairley? And you started getting into that whole defensive front. Like, the look on your face, man, that was genuine. Like, those were the dudes, and that's how you guys rode.
Yeah, that's how. Because the same way that, when I looked at them, I felt that same fire, right? I felt that same fire when they would go out there and make plays, or Sue would go out there and make a big hit, or disrupt the play, or Nick Fairley would get back there, or Slade got a pick or Rasheed got a big hit. Like, that would like fire me up because I had that defensive mentality. And I wanted to allude to this earlier, but I wasn't able to. But when I talk about that mentality and those players being able to flip it on and turn it off, is a guy like Sue. A guy like Sue who, you make a man in practice, he'll go so hard that the coach say, hey, helmet's off, shoulder pads off, walk through. Because he don't want nobody to get hurt. And that's how tough these guys. No, I'm serious.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I'm not even joking.
I know.
They would have to stop practicing. The helmet's off on the sideline, shoulder pads off, walk through.
he shut the whole thing down.
That's how when you got guys on your team like that, come on,
that'll
that's
shut
identity.
The program down, bro.
And watching that play where 94 is not running after the ball. In practice, defense run to the ball after every single play. Offense. If you guys watch those 2013, 2014 games, watch them. Watch me and watch the other running backs on the team. When a receiver gets tackled down the field, look to see who's running down and to pick them up, because you never let your teammates stay on the ground with the defender. You don't know what's going on at the bottom of that pile. You run down there, you pick them up, but the only way you get that selfless kind of play in you is by practicing it at practice. You just don't do it in the games.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to save your energy. You want to save. That's been selfish.
And that I'm really stumbling into something here because Sue was my guy, and I always felt like that was the day the music died when Sue left town. I thought with that team, you felt the momentum building with that team.
We lost our identity on defense.
The day he left was a day and I know the fans, the fans had a lot to say and stuff like that. But every player I've ever talked to, Joique, every player uniformly said he was that dude.
Yeah, so
he was that dude.
We had Brandon Copeland come on the show and said that when we he said, I'm just gonna say it. When we lost Sue, we lost our identity, and it wasn't just Sue. We lost a lot of guys. I think did we lose Jason Jones? Well, C.J. Mosley, Nick Farrell.
Jones might. I can't remember. Jones was there one more, but
I can't remember.
The core crumbled from there. Yeah. We can say it like that.
We had another DN. We had George also play DN. Was a big guy for us. But we lost those guys. Tully got hurt towards ACL. He was out. We lost a lot. Rasheed Mathis retired. So we had a lot of guys that we lost, and that defense was not the same because, as we both know, we talked about it, that when you want to have a good team, you want to have a good defense, you want to have a good offense, you have to be stout in the trenches. And when we lost our guys in those trenches,
it was a wrap.
Everything else is going to crumble.
Yep.
That's your foundation. That was our foundation, and that just showed you when you don't have that strong foundation in that core, in the trenches, everything else is going to crumble around it. It's just it's just what it is. And so when people look at, I had people calling me after the draft and said, "Why did we draft him? What is that a good?" And I had to break it down. Yes, that's a great pick. We have to build up our own line. We have to build up our D line. These are great first picks. These are great picks. We need these picks. All right, I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you. Like, yeah, I know you are. Like, I'm telling you. Like, no, I'm not. So, but people don't understand how crucial that D line, the offensive line is, because if they're playing well and they're playing at a high level, then more than likely, it's going to give your quarterback or your defensive backfield or your offensive backfield an opportunity to excel as well. You can excel. It's only been a few players who's been able to excel with no O-line or no D-line.
Barry?
Barry's one, but Barry had a good O-line.
He had a good
O-line. I'm not gonna say every year, but every year he had a good O-line.
First 3 to 4 years of his career, he had a great offensive line.
But for the most part, he had a pretty decent O-line. So, but he has some. 1,000 yards every year. Yeah, he played. That's enough said. 1,000 yards. You're not having a top line every year.
Yeah.
What's one of those offensive linemen was a Hall of Famer?
No, absolutely, you're correct. And D-Mac, I know one place you won't be crumbling tonight is in the ring. It's going down tonight, isn't it?
Bring it, coming on soon. 7 o'clock bell time down at the Fraternal Order of Police on 1051 Strasburg down in Monroe. Got a lot of the Impact wrestling guys in town. Got the Death Threat Army. It's going to be a fun time. Anybody who comes out today. So I will be in tomorrow with a few updates, but officially Stone Cold Grind Time Wrestling will debut tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to hear the reports. I can't wait to see. I'm definitely going to get out there. My son's a big wrestling guy. They focus too much on athleticism now, not enough on characters in professional wrestling.
That's why the character building, the storyline. I'm the storyline guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to jump around and do any of those things. I'm going to punch you right in the mouth.
But wrestling's fake.
It's not fake, bro.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Scripted is different than fake. The bumps, the chair shots, all that stuff. Like when you're getting punched in the face,
he's
bringing it.
It's scripted.
Scripted means that the storyline, right? So the storyline has to be scripted. So it's the best sport because you can be disappointed because you're let down because you don't like the storyline. But if it makes sense, then it goes on. These things join. Male soap opera going on for years and years.
Let me tell you when I say fake. I'm not saying that the injuries and the hits aren't fake. What I'm saying is, I
like scripted better. Scripted because somebody plans it out. Like my match tonight.
Somebody raced out like everything.
Right,
you think
it's an entertainment. Neal just said it's not an athletic.
Yeah.
It's part of the TV show.
Okay. People like to go, so it's a TV show. Okay.
It's a TV show.
I'll call it a TV show. Cool.
It's entertainment. It's like a
okay, cool. I'll call it a TV show.
What you got going on tonight, Joique, real quick before we get out of here?
Gang.
Friends of High School Ramblers, let's go.
Back. Hey guys, Darren McCarty here, and I want to thank everybody at IWR Wrestling for allowing me to be the commissioner, the guest commissioner. But did you know that while doing my job, some clown named
Jockstrap Cletus.
Chinstrap, I apologize.
He doesn't know Kyle Barrett.
thought I was doing some bullocks and making matches, and I split him. Anyways, he challenged me.
Darren, you may be the baddest man on the ice, but you can toss those hockey gloves to the side. Because in my world, I am the baddest man in the ring.
He challenged me. Now, I know it's wrestling and stuff like this, but I plan August 26th at the FOP. Yes, you better be there. I will be there. I got a month to train. I'm not bringing any hockey skills. I'm bringing all wrestling skills. Chin strap. Buckle up, buddy. Choke you out.